In a heart-wrenching and emotional interview that has since gripped fans across Asia and beyond, Chinese actor Dylan Wang opened up for the first time about a deeply personal and tragic experience, one that occurred behind closed elevator doors, far from the flashing lights and public appearances. His voice, normally confident and charismatic, trembled as he recalled the moment that changed his life forever. The actor, best known for his breakout role in Meteor Garden, chose to break his silence on what really happened that fateful night when the woman he loved stopped breathing in his arms inside an elevator. For months, rumors and speculation circulated online, some cruel, some sympathetic. But now, Dylan has chosen to tell the truth, in his own words. This is the story of love, panic, heartbreak, and a moment that left a permanent scar on a rising star. Dylan Wang is no stranger to the public eye. Since his debut, his career has been a whirlwind of fan meetings, film sets, and red carpets. Yet through all the glamour, he kept one part of his life fiercely protected: his relationship with a woman outside the entertainment industry, someone he had been quietly seeing for over 2 years. "We wanted something real," Dylan began. "No cameras, no headlines, just us. She grounded me. She made me laugh when the pressure got too much." Friends close to the couple described their love as quiet but deep. They were often seen together in low-profile locations, walking hand in hand through small towns, having coffee in quiet cafes, and enjoying nature far from the city noise. According to insiders, she had no interest in fame. She was happy staying in the background, one source revealed. She wanted Dylan to shine and just wanted to be his piece. It was supposed to be an ordinary evening. Dylan had just returned from a promotional shoot in Chengdu. Tired and jet-lagged, he went straight to the apartment they shared, a luxury high-rise in downtown Beijing. "She was waiting for me," he recalled, tears brimming in his eyes. "She had cooked. There was wine. She smiled like she always did." After dinner, the two decided to go for a walk downstairs. That was when everything started to go wrong. "We stepped into the elevator like we always did. Just the two of us. And then, it happened." As the elevator descended, Dylan noticed something was wrong. "She leaned against me and whispered, 'I feel dizzy.' I thought she was joking. We laughed, for like a second. Then her knees gave way. She collapsed into my arms." In his voice was the sound of a man still haunted. "I called her name, again and again. Her lips were turning blue. She wasn't breathing. I pressed the emergency button. I screamed for help. But we were in between floors." With trembling hands, Dylan performed CPR, something he'd learned years ago during a first aid class on set. "I just did everything I could. Chest compressions. Mouth to mouth. I was crying. I kept saying, 'Don't leave me. Please, don't leave me.' But she wasn't responding." According to the building's security logs, the elevator was stuck for nearly 4 minutes before emergency responders forced the doors open. "By the time they reached us, I thought I'd lost her," he whispered. Paramedics rushed her to the nearest hospital. Dylan rode with them, never letting go of her hand. In the emergency room, he waited. Minutes turned to hours. "I sat there, soaked in sweat and tears. I didn't know what to expect. I was praying, begging, even. If I could have taken her place, I would have." Eventually, a doctor came out. "She told me that they had managed to revive her," Dylan said, his voice cracking. "But that her brain had been deprived of oxygen for too long. She was in a coma." For the next 8 days, Dylan never left her side. Dylan refused to accept what was happening. He read her favorite books aloud, played her favorite music, and even whispered secrets only the two of them knew, hoping, praying for a miracle. "There were moments I thought I saw her fingers move. Her eyelids flutter. I clung to hope. But on the 9th day, the doctors gave him the final update: she was gone. They said there was no brain activity. No chance. They asked me to consider letting her go." He did, only after placing one last kiss on her forehead and whispering, "I'll always love you." Dylan eventually returned to work, but something had changed. Co-stars noticed he had grown quieter, more introspective. In interviews, he avoided talking about love, relationships, or anything personal. But behind the scenes, He started something meaningful. He set up a private foundation in her name to support cardiac health and emergency training for young people. Doctors later told me it was a rare cardiac event. Something that couldn't have been predicted. But I keep wondering, what if I had gotten her help sooner? What if we weren't stuck in that elevator? Through the foundation, he's funded over 1,000 CPR training sessions across China and donated to install emergency response kits in over 200 residential buildings. If even one life can be saved, maybe her death won't be in vain. So why did Dylan choose now to tell the world? I think I owed it to her, he said. I owed it to the love we had. And to anyone else who's been through something similar. You don't have to hide your pain. You don't have to be okay right away. He also wanted to challenge the stigma around male vulnerability. I'm tired of pretending men can't break down. That we can't cry or grieve. I was broken. And that's okay. Beijing, May 2025. A simple elevator ride turned into a life and death moment one Dylan Wang will never forget. On a spring afternoon, award-winning actor Dylan Wang, Meng Zhuo from Meteor Garden, entered a high-rise building in central Beijing, accompanied by a close friend and rising actress, Li Mai, not her real name. What followed was a terrifying ordeal they never expected, an elevator ride that nearly turned fatal. 1. The moments before panic. They stepped into the elevator on the 15th floor after filming a late-afternoon commercial shoot nearby. According to Dylan, Li Mai seemed perfectly fine, smiling and chatting about wardrobe details, unaware of the quiet hazard building below. Then, as the doors slid shut, the elevator lurched slightly. The lights flickered. Sudden pitch darkness, Dylan recalled, followed by a grinding silence as the car stalled between floors. That's when everything changed. 2. Unseen danger. Most elevators have backup systems, but this one cancelled out. I heard her gasp, Dylan said, describing a sudden change. One moment she was fine. The next, she slumped forward. Her eyes glazed. She stopped breathing. Dylan scooped her into his arms, heart pounding as panic threatened to overwhelm him. Without a cell phone signal and no alarm response from the building system, he was stranded and possibly in charge of life and death. 3 seconds that stretched into eternity. I asked, Li Mai? Can you hear me? He recounted, banging the emergency button with shaking hands. A red light blinked, but no chime answered. I called her name, gently but loudly. Tiny desperation. He recalls lifting her out of his lap, gently clearing saliva from her mouth. Once, twice, 3 times, no breath. His palms felt cool on her cheeks. He cupped her face and began chest compressions, under his breath repeating the training he once learned. Push, push, count, listen. 4. The smallest sign of life. Just as he began to believe all was lost, a soft flutter of eyelids. Her chest trembled. 1 breath. 2 breaths. Relief washed over him like a wave. It wasn't a deep gasp, Dylan said. But it was enough. He spoke to her softly, "You're okay. You're okay." He cradled her head on his shoulder, whispering calm encouragement until the elevator lights flickered back to life. 5. Rescue at last. With no elevator movement, Dylan crawled to the corner control panel and pulled himself upright. He hit broadcast, emergency, and steel doors grated open to reveal 2 security guards. The ride resumed downward automatically, descending gently. On the lobby floor, EMTs were waiting, alerted from the building's emergency intercom logs. They swept inside. Li Mai was pale but stable. Dylan followed, shaken. In the ambulance, paramedics checked her vitals, heartbeat steady, oxygen slightly low, but recovering. 6. What happened next? At the hospital, doctors confirmed Li Mai experienced a brief, unexplained respiratory arrest, likely triggered by a brief panic episode or vasovagal response under stress. All tests, ECG, brain scan, respiratory panel, returned clear. She was released the next morning with no after-effects. Still recovering, Li Mai and Dylan issued a joint statement. "We are incredibly grateful for the swift EMT response and the building team's help. It was terrifying. Today we are here, together and safe." 7. Why now? Dylan speaks out. Though the incident occurred in February, Neither had spoken publicly until now. Dylan says he waited to protect Li Mai's privacy, as she was still emotionally fragile. But after insisting from fans and press, they agreed to share their story. It's not about fame, Dylan said. It's about life. It's about showing how quickly things can turn and how precious every breath is. 8. Key takeaways. Awareness of panic responses. A vasovagal event can cause temporary fainting or halted breathing, even in healthy people under stress, especially in confined spaces. First aid saved her life. Dylan's presence of mind, calling her name, checking airway, performing chest compressions, was critical. Elevator safety steps. He stresses passengers should press both the emergency alarm button and attempt to broadcast if available. Also, stay calm and seated until rescue arrives. Emotional aftershock. Both reported lingering anxiety. Li Mai now tends to avoid elevators temporarily. Dylan says he wakes more easily, startled by low hums. We're both getting help, he said, referencing therapy and breathing technique classes. 9. Their friendship and future plans. The ordeal deepened their bond. She's stronger than anyone I know, Dylan said. They remain platonic friends, partners in art and recovery. Li Mai called it a rebirth, and Dylan joked, "It's made my next scripts feel like the easiest thing ever." They've plunged back into work. Dylan resumes filming a new wuxia series. Li Mai plans to star in an indie film later this year. She's spoken of dedicating her next role to the gift of life, dedicating scenes to breathing every inhale part of her art. 10. Final reflection. In life, a single elevator ride turned into a crucible. One woman lost breath. One man fought for it. Their story is not one of romance, but of humanity, instinct, presence, trauma, and healing. Dylan's final reflection: when someone stops breathing in your arms, you realize there's nothing more real than that moment. No script, no retake, just life, and the choices you make for it.
So once again, from all of us at K-Romance Central, thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe in love again, or if you just want to stay updated on every twist in this breathtaking saga, backhand index pointing right, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification button for more juicy K-drama updates. Because this is K-Romance Central, and here, we don't just report stories. We bring the romance to life. Sparkling Heart.